What's up, peeps, and welcome to another episode of Chalk and Cheese. My name is Chase, and this is Dan. And today, we're going to be talking about the spirit of the game. And we want to hear, Dan, what do you think?
Well, obviously, I think I'm for the spirit of the game. And the biggest thing that's brought this to our attention is obviously the second game of the Ashes at Lords has just blown up for Alex Carey's dismissal of Bairstow. That individual incident, it's borderline okay, borderline against the spirit of the game, but other areas of cricket, of man-catting, which is perfectly in the rules, is a very bad look for the game. What are your thoughts?
See, I'm of the opinion that if it was a bad look for the game or you don't want to happen, change the rule. Because when you get to that level where professionals play the game, they're looking for every advantage to try and get the win.
Yeah.
And they may follow the spirit of the game 95% of the time, but for that one or two times they don't, they're probably going to get someone out or get someone, and it's going to work to them winning. So I'm always of let the rules fix what needs to be fixed and let the players play the game. Spirit of the game, I don't care two things about it.
Yeah, I think it looks bad, to be honest. And the Ashes series has been unbelievable. The first two games have been crazy. Obviously, I enjoy it because Australia's winning at the moment. But what are we talking about? You watch the media at the moment on TV, and all we're talking about is just dismissal.
Yeah.
We're not talking about how good the players were, the people putting on hundreds. Ben Stokes even, and the English team, 140 or 50 or whatever, off nothing. Like, he just went to town. But we're talking about this issue because it looks bad.
See, but I think with the media, this issue works in their favor because it gives them the negative stuff to talk about. So the media is not worried about spirit of the game.
So you think it's a negative thing?
No.
If it's a negative thing to talk about?
Yeah, but I think the spirit of the game where the media is really focusing on what Alex Carey and they're not focusing on the actual game, the media just wants people to listen. And because they can use not following the spirit of the game as a negative, that's just what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because they could have put the headline, Stokes heroics.
Yeah.
Steve Smith, 2 centuries in 2 innings.
Yeah.
But that's not going to get as many people watching. And the main thing is because people think he hasn't followed the spirit of the game. And that's why I'm saying if we're just not worried about spirit of the game and go, did he follow the rules? We would be talking about the actual game.
I think the biggest stakeholders in this is obviously the fans.
Yeah.
And I think there's been, like in cricket in particular, 150 years of the spirit of the game. And you see how much it means to the fans when they walk back through the members' pavilion and they just like...
The members go crazy.
Unrightly so, they're getting abused. But obviously everyone's under the understanding, well, maybe this isn't a good look.
Yeah.
And everyone will go back to the letter of the law and they'd be like, yeah, he's allowed to do that. But you remove that out and you're like, do you want this to be a part of the game regularly?
Yeah.
And I think there's essences of John Bairstow's dismissal where he does reground himself and then walks out.
The problem is, like you're saying, we go, do you want that look in the game? I always sort of get back to the fact that if Bairstow stayed in his crease and Alex Carey throws the ball, there's no issue.
Yeah.
Like when I see the bowlers, I was talking about when bowlers... A fast bowler is trying to pull a point and he wants to get into the batsman's head. He bowls a ball, the batsman blocks it back to him. He picks it up and throws it at the batsman. The batsman's standing in his crease. That's not following the spirit. He's just trying to get into the batsman's head.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Alex Carey was trying to do to make sure Bairstow stays in his crease. So that's part of a game where every time you get the ball, Alex Carey might throw it back just to go, Bairstow, you're not turning forward.
Yeah.
You're not going forward. Stay in your crease. I don't know. Send the message. When the bowler throws it back at the batsman, he doesn't want to hit the batsman, but he's trying to...
Intimidate.
Yeah, intimidate the batsman to make him a little bit unsure of the next ball. And that's all part of sport. So...
Yes, I'm not trying to get rid of the competitive aspect of it, but I just think the advantage gained from someone working the grey areas of the game is massive.
See, my idea is it wouldn't be a grey area if you follow the rules.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm I think people use the spirit of the game as a thing that they want to complain at someone about. When, like, you say Alex Harry's throwing it down, got Bairstow out. If Bairstow had done his job, we would have even been talking about it.
Yeah,
if Bairstow had stayed in his crease and that hit the stumps, would anyone be talking about what Alex Carey did? No. So is it against the spirit because he got Bairstow out?
I think, I don't even think if Carey was even trying to hit the stumps, but I think you got to allow for the idiosyncrasies of players who have their routine. And if you can see, I think he had a deliberate act to re-ground himself before he walked out. He didn't just duck and walk.
So would you have been okay with Aussies going, no, we want to remove that appeal? Let him stay in.
I wouldn't remove the appeal because it's up to the umpire then. But it's like, if it misses, that's the warning.
Yeah.
I think that because they showed he did it 4 more times in that over. He could have done it earlier and he's like, I checked himself.
Yeah.
So that with the man cat, you can do it first time, but I think the gentleman's agreement is you'll get a warning, and then if you keep exploiting the rule, then it's fair game for me to get you out.
My whole thing about the man cat is that batter at the non-striking end should just stay in his crease. Like, I don't have an issue with the bowlers stopping and doing it and going, oh, he's out. He moved forward even the first time.
Because it seems like it's happening a bit more regularly. When you see it, what does that feeling give you? I'm just like, yeah, it's out, but it doesn't sit well with me.
I'm okay with it. As I said, the problem is,
You're ruthless, mate.
the batter's trying to get an advantage to get a quick single or to get across to the other end.
Which is fair game.
So it's fair for the batter to take the advantage to get across for a run, but it's not fair for the bowler to make him stay in his crease. Like,
but that's the grey area, which is the gentleman's agreement.
Yeah.
So as the ball's being released, they've probably lifted their bat
Yes.
and they're ready to go. But if you're trying to exploit the grey area, then it's fair game for the bowler to be like, hey, if you do it again, then I get you out. I don't have a problem with that.
See,
but the warning is what gets them back to the rules of the game.
And I don't know, I actually don't know the rule exactly, but what my thing is, if cricket wants to make that man cat or make it fair for everyone, they need to have, when the bowler's arm passes the 75 degrees over his shoulder, he's not allowed to stop.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if the bowler gets into his stance and stops there and hits you out because you're down the crease, I don't have an issue with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that's where the rule would stop that grey area and everyone would know what they need to do.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But it's like you're assuming he's going to bowl it, so you get ready and go.
Yes.
It's out of the ordinary for him to stop.
But
that's the grey area that gets exploited. But anyway, let's move on from cricket because there's other areas that have these issues. And I was thinking about, we're talking about fake injuries.
Yes.
And there was Manu for the Roosters, who, I know, third receiver on the pass, faked a hamstring injury. Everyone just stopped and stood up. Then he ran through the gap and they scored off that. Not a fan of that.
And like you said, that's probably against the spirit of the game. But if everyone went back to being a little 12-year-old and played to the whistle and the ref hadn't blown his whistle and tackled him, it wouldn't have been an issue.
But I think in junior sport, that if they fake an injury, the ref would be like, are you all right? And they'll actually stop the game. Just take him back, play the ball, then go again.
There was one on the weekend where Gold Coast versus Canberra Raiders, and Canberra scored a try for it. So the Gold Coast winger's gone to score a try. He's knocked the ball on in the in goal, and the players thought the refs gonna blow for a knock on.
Yeah.
And the Canberra guys picked it in the in goal. He's watched the Gold Coast guy just stop and stand, and he just ran around him, ran down the wing, passed, and they've scored.
I mean, I like that because I tipped the Raiders. So
but that's where if the Gold Coast players stopped because he thought the dude's gonna stop because the ball's been knocked on, but the ref hasn't.
Yes, I don't think that's against the spirit of the game because you're watching AFL. If someone takes the advantage, there's a split second where everyone stops waiting, and then someone takes the advantage. You're like, we're all going, so we're all partaking in this. It's not like you go, no one else go yet.
Yeah. So if we had our last sort of to win over our viewers of, do we need spirit of the game or we don't need it? What would be your final thought?
I would say we need it. It's part of the history of the game, and people have grown up with the understanding of certain grey areas are a gentleman's agreement.
Yep.
And I think the flow-on effect from not having it in junior sport and amateur sport, I think would be too great to just say, we're just going ones and zeros, all rules, no spirit of the game. You play to the whistle, whatever.
Yeah.
Because then I think someone's going to actually get hurt and they just play no whistle gets blown and then an issue will come on the other end.
See, I think the spirit of the game becomes sort of an issue when, because it's not a rule or the law, some people aren't going to follow it. And once you get something that some are and some aren't, that's when I think issues arise.
Well, then the new gentleman's agreement is we don't follow the spirit of the game. It's just hell for leather and we go. Which I'm fine
The
with,
new
but
gentleman's
someone needs
agreement
to...
is follow the referee's whistle and play the game.
Yeah.
And once you sort of have, all right, we're going to play till that whistle plays, everyone's on the same part. I know, like you said, someone could be injured and they really are injured, but you haven't had the whistle, so you keep playing. And that's eventually when the referee will realize, because players won't fake injuries as much, I think, when people keep playing, so it'll take an adjustment. But I think, you know what, when people or sports don't want some aspects in their game, that's when they'll fix the rules to get rid of it. All right.
Yeah.
So what do you all think out there? Do you think the spirit of the game is something we need and we've got to keep in all sports? Or do you think, you know what, let the sports judge what they want, what they don't want, and let the rules change to keep in what they need? What do you all think?
Thank you.